everything in between. She has, it's interesting climbing on her, she's sort of a couple different horses that don't really communicate well with each other. The neck and the head, that's one horse, right? The neck and the head is one horse, and her shoulder seems to be another. And then we've got the rib cage and the hind quarters, and those horses aren't all on speaking terms. Okay? And this is part of the tension that she carries. So I'm connecting softly this outside rein and asking her to soften through the jaw here. So we talk about the inside rein opening to invite the bend. When the horse is tense and tight in the jaw, I'm going to lift that rein up into the corner of the mouth, just the way we did yesterday with our jaw release, the elevated release, the vertical release, the lateral releases of the jaw through the bridle. I'm going to ask her to soften and release. And it almost seems counterintuitive that when the pole goes up, the hand can come up to help the pole lower. Okay? But it's about releasing the jaw, mobilizing the tongue. If we can help her to find that release there, we can help her to come there and soften. And that was pretty rude, but we'll let that happen this time as she explores. I'm not a fan, I'm a big fan of a horse stretching. I'm not a fan of a horse being rude in the stretch. Okay? When we talk about helping a horse become on the bit, I don't like that term as much as I like to think of a horse being with the bit. Okay? A horse that's with the bit, like we talked about with Joanne's horse. If I were to lengthen this outside rein, we'd want her to start reaching down into it. She says, I don't understand that yet. So that's all right. And so my seat, I'm going to come back softly to help connect the back end to the front end. We talk about riding them from back to front, and that's essential because the motor's in the back. If we do too much in the front, we just stifle the back. But we need to help soften her, educate her from there. From the bridle here, softening the jaw, helping to connect then with the outside rein as I ride with my seat forward through the body. So we see her right there starting to engage a little more. Starts to come into a little bit of an overtrack with those hind legs, stepping more forward as she unlocks the back. It would be the goal always, but it's hard to get there, absolutely. So we'll make sure that we use them last. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And yet she's still only really understanding it as 2%. Right? And so when the unlocking comes through, we talk a lot about the hands, keeping them kind of in the box, right? Keeping them down. Keeping our hands in the box is quite a presupposition. We're presupposing that she's coming through the back and supple through the body and relaxed through the jaw and, all of those things. And so I'll move my hands around. It's important, though, that we understand that the connection's still very soft, even when I'm moving around like that. So another way that I'll think of it, particularly with the inside hand, she owns it. Okay? So if the head comes up, the hand follows. The head comes down, the hand follows. We talk about having steady hands, and that's something that, we would attribute to a good rider. We would talk about their hands being steady. And what we need to be thinking about is this is steady in relation to the horse's mouth. Okay? So we see how I'll be all around in here trying to keep a steady feel with her mouth off the inside rein here. So when we talk about steady, if we think about balancing a broom, balancing a whip on the end of our hand, right? We might have to do a whole lot down here to keep it steady up top, okay? Go out there. Good. And so we see right there, she softens a little through that jaw. Good. And through my seat, I'm thinking about encouraging forward. Right here, I want to say, no, you need to step your rib cage a little more to the left. Think about bending around my right leg. I'm going to touch with my calf and then tap with the whip if I need to. There. And here she's getting ready to lengthen a little through the top line there. There she comes. When she does, there, we see the hind legs start to reach under a little more. So the relaxation of the jaw on the top line starts to give us a better reach through the hind quarters. And ask her to come soften a little more right here. This is something she needs quite a bit of. She feels as though she's been lost and had to find her own way a little bit because she's gone through whatever she's gone through in the past. Okay? And this is something that I think we want to think about with her. I know a lot of the stories that we tell ourselves about our horses. My horse was abused in the past, my horse had this go on, or that was bad, or whatever. I just sold you this horse, Joyce. She's the best horse on the planet. She has no problems. She's been pampered her whole life. Treat her that way. Because as soon as we say, oh, geez, she was this 10 years ago, pretty soon she's as gray as Marie's horse, and we're saying, well, she was abused once 40 years ago, so we can't expect her to be a well-adjusted, educated riding horse, right? That's not fair. It's not fair to think that way. I don't care if a horse was abused yesterday. I don't care if you beat the living hell out of her this morning. I'm not going to ride her as though she's a horse that's abused. I'm going to ride her as though she's a horse that we're educating. Because the best way, the fastest way to help a horse feel confident, regardless of their past, is to set consistent expectations. We help her to connect here. I'd say, look, I'm not going to buy the old story. You're a horse. You know, you are who you are, and I want to help you become a little better version of that by being your life coach. I mean, face it, you are your horse's life coach. You are your horse's fitness coach. You are your horse's nutritionist. You are a lot. There's a lot of weight that carries. Because he didn't put an ad on Craigslist looking for you. Right? Yeah. And so when she comes tense, I'm going to meet her there, and I'm going to wait. Yeah. When she comes soft, I'm going to meet her there also. Inside my reins, I think of it as, I don't know, an ounce of rein. It could be whatever. You can call it whatever you want. I'll call it an ounce of rein contact. When I take up that ounce, right here, she's got about 20 pounds inside my ounce. It's inside my ounce. She could put 500 pounds here inside my ounce. And I'm going to hang in here, and when she softens, she says, oh, there's that ounce. Why didn't I think of that sooner? Yeah, right there. She says, oh, boy, that ounce felt all right. Just kidding. Okay, there it is back again. Right? Just kidding. Oh, there it is back. Just kidding. Right? But again, that's about the consistency. Right? And I'm not saying that we don't empathize, but I'm saying we're not going to bring that to the table. Right? No, if we say, well, she doesn't like Marie's gray horse. Well, shit, she doesn't have an option. She's not a tourist. She's an employee. Right? She doesn't have an option. Yeah. And I'm not saying that we'd be rude about it, but we'd say, sweetheart, you just got to go to work. 23 hours a day, you get to do whatever you want. 1 hour a day, you've got to go to work. That's a pretty awesome deal, I think. But we want to be really consistent, Joyce, with it. This is important, I think, for every horse. The consistency, the ridiculous consistency. People say, how do you get respect from a horse? How do you get respect from a person? Consistency. Right? You don't have to, in spite of what somebody might sell you in a program or a set of DVDs, you don't have to lunge a horse for respect. You don't have to carry a stick. You don't have to wear this tool. You don't have. It doesn't matter. It's consistency. The horse understands what to expect. Right? Again, we ask her a little soft and she's there. So you see how when she's tense, I say, sweetheart, you can't be tense and tight. You need to be there, more receptive. When she's soft, so you see the difference right there when she starts to unlock the body. When she's unlocking there, then I say, hey, we might be able to talk about a leg heel. If she starts to get tense, I say, no, we got to go back to step one. We've got to be soft and relaxed. And now we'll think about the leg heel. Because I get tight, I say, well, I'll help you. So again, we talk about riding 80% seat, 18% lower leg, 2% hand. It's a goal, right? It's a get to, not a got to. Right? To get to. We earn that from the horse.
I know.
It's also important that we work on this reverse aid education. We want to use the reins last. That's like using an emergency brake last. Sure as hell it better work when you use it, right? So we have to educate our horse to the reins, right? So that they understand the appropriate response there. So that they can then ride off of the seat and off of the leg for plump. If we never use them, the horse never learns what they mean, and that's, we've got to be careful of that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just set my inside rein here. Now she's starting to soften. If I need to help her again, I will. I'll always help when necessary. Yeah. So my inside leg is encouraging her in time with the inside hind. Step across. We need to keep that in mind. The timing has to be spot on because the horse can only understand the aids that are given in time with the footfall. And as she starts to soften there. So she's one. Joyce, that needs to be ridden more with that expectation for softness, saying, hey, this is how you can be, how you can respond. You can release yourself. We talk about that turning loose idea, right? Letting down. You need to release into this. When she's soft in here, there, then I'll say, okay, you know what? Then you can go out here. And you can relax, and you can stretch. Just like we talked about at the gym, you know. You spend that time in active rest and stretch mode in between the work that you do. But this requires an awareness of every piece of the body. Okay? About 2 ribs behind my inside leg. She holds a lot of tension. Okay? So I'm thinking about that part, kind of sitting into that, saying, hey, soften that piece up too. Okay? At the same time is where we're feeling all these other things. Right? Our aids, we talked about it earlier, your aids have to have an awareness of their own. That's what we want to hear, that's flowing out like that. Pretty good. Now you need to climb on her and try to connect her in that same way. See right there, that rib pushed into my leg, and that's what caused that fine cord to step aside. Yeah. So we want to really think about there. We want to think about holding her up to that expectation. You're not going to micromanage. You're not going to hold her there. You're going to hold her responsible for being there. I don't know. We'll have to talk with Susan.